Good afternoon, members. It's 1:08 p.m. First and foremost, I would like to thank the acting Secretary Cabrera for making himself present with his team, Department of Commerce. And before we move forward, I'd like to introduce my members. I am Representative Ralph Yumo, Chairman for Ways and Means. To my left, we have the Vice Chair, Rep. Blas Attal. And to my right, we have the Vice Speaker, Joel Camacho, who's a member. And on the floor, we have Rep. Julie Ogo, Chairwoman of Commerce and Tourism. To her left, we have Chairman of SNOUD, Representative John Paul Sablan. And to his left, we have Chairman of Natural Resources, Rep. Angelo Camacho. And to his left, the Vice Chair for SNIOD, Representative Roman Benaventi. And across the aisle, we have Ms. V and her team. Thank you for making yourself present today. And to, I forget Miss Philip, right? That, thank you. Um, and also we have our minority leader, who is a member as well, Representative Patrick San Nicolas. And to his left, we have Representative Danita Yangtamay. Uh, and also we have our legal assistant, Ms. Claire Sablan, as well as TG, our fiscal analyst, our counsel John's here, and uh, Dell, our IT for today. And with that, can I get a motion to adopt today's agenda? Thank you. There has been a motion to adopt today's agenda. Has been seconded. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. Mr. Acting Secretary, please step forward and you may bring your team if you please. Thank you, Acting Secretary, and you may introduce your team as well as you may begin with your uh, opening statement. Thank you.
Hafide Tiro, buenas tardes. Uh, Ways and Means Committee. Honorable Chairman, Representative Yumo, members of this Ways and Means Committee, buenas tardes talo, and our office counterparts that handles the budget from the Management and Budget team. Good afternoon. Uh, I would like to introduce our team, sir. And to my left is Director Justin Andrews with the Central Statistics Division. And of course, to my right, we have Ms. Charlotte Borja, the Acting Banking Administrator and Insurance Licensing Officer. Next will be Director David Martita, the Alcohol, Beverage, Tobacco, and Bitter Nut Control Division. Uh, Further up, Ms. Remy Muffness, the Register Corporation. Ms. Acting Director for Economic Development, Ms. Marian Santos. And we have Mr. Jesse Chong, who is the with the Enforcement and Compliance Division, and he's the Enforcement Officer 3. Also in the gallery with us is Ms. Bernie Palacios, our fiscal analyst, and Ms. Charlene Tenorio, our Commerce Administrative Manager. And also with Captain Adonis with the ABTC office. And of course, myself, Frank Cabrera, Francisco Cabrera, the acting secretary for the Department of Commerce. Uh, I would like to start and state that the mission of the Department of Commerce is to ensure that the policies and procedures governing the conduct of business in the Commonwealth promotes sustainable economic growth, stimulate economic development and diversification, and to provide fair and equitable business environment in which both private and foreign businesses and ultimately the people of the Commonwealth may prosper. Also provides technical assistance, administrative guidance, and support to our sister islands of Tinian and Rota, Department of Commerce. The Department of Commerce was really originally created under Public Law 1-8 and later modified and reorganized through the Executive Order 94-2 and 94-3, Section 302. The Office of the Secretary of Commerce is responsible for the stimulation, encouragement, and regulation of private investments, planning, coordinating, and promoting economic policies, decisions of the executive branch to enhance commerce within the CNMI through partnership with other government agencies, nonprofit organizations, private sector associations, and other key partners outside of the CNMI. Our department budget submission for this fiscal year 2024 amount to about 2.7 million. However, with the proposed governor's budget submission through the Office of Management Budget, it came in with a number of 1.7. Due to our current economic and financial condition of the Department of Commerce will stay within its means as proposed by the Governor's Budget Office submission and will make do of the available resources and hope that equitable adjustments can be made along the new fiscal year when our government financial conditions improve. Uh, Although the Department of Commerce APTC division did request that or have requested previously during our budget submission for an additional 14 FTE, we would like to consider a consideration may be made that such FTEs may be looked in and possibly, if not all of it, be adjusted and provided to Commerce. One factor for consideration, I would seek and request this committee also to please consider under the Workers' Comp Commission Office to add in under Class Code 62300 under the Workers' Compensation Insurance to be funded at least for at least meager $1 for consideration with any identified lapse funds can be reprogrammed and to be funded for the Workers' Comp Commission. We are ready to receive and answer your question. Thank you.
Thank you, Acting Chair. And before I open the floor up to the members, I do remember, I believe last fiscal year you requested I believe 100,000 to fund workman's comp. Is this, I forget, is it for government employees or is this for the total workman's for the CNMI?
That's for the cinema government employees only.
And then this is because of if there's injury during work and so forth, we would be able to cover. And is 100,000 sufficient? Is there any insurance company that's willing to take on this type of?
Actually, Mr. Chair, thank you for that question. The requested amount on the previous year was basically to cover for any and all work-related injury, illnesses, and death. Currently, since 2009 was the last year that the Workers' Comp Commission was ever funded a true appropriation. Now, we're talking over 3,000 plus employees, nearly 4,000 as of today, if I'm not mistaken. I need to look into the actual budget figure. But when you look at that number, we need nearly about 600,000. Our request previous years was basically to fund the program at least 100,000, 50,000 to 100,000 annually for the next 10 years a non-lapse appropriation so that we can continue to carry on such funding in a special account so that we don't need to come back and ask on the 11th year, 12th year for additional more funds. We can continue to carry on. Thank you.
Thank you for that clarification. Um, just have a few other questions. I know the last couple of fiscal years, the annual report is usually a major complaint issue that we will get calls and we'll try to at least mitigate it. But is that all pretty much hammered out with regards to the fees and penalties of the annual reports? Are we down to at least minimal now, or and people are complying?
I will yield and we'll have Ms. Remy Mofnes please respond to that event. Can you repeat the question, please?
Oh, yeah, with regards to the filing of the annual reports, I remember in the past legislatures where we get nonprofits and businesses that forget. I don't know if it's intentional or they just they're out of mind, no? And with the daily fees that was charged before, and I think we did amend the law, no, to give the acting or the secretary the discretion to adjust. But our concern is just are the businesses actually filing on time now with the annual report? Because I know that's always a problem. Every year we get calls here and say, "Can you help me?" Because the fees are extra at that time. I'm not sure with regards to the current year.
Thank you. Um, yeah, they're now more current. A lot of them are on time, but we still have a few that didn't know about the penalties, and but it's just a few now.
Okay, so just minimal.
Yes, just the
Okay,
minimal.
okay, yes. Thank you for that clarification. I did remember because I believe I sat down in the last week's admins meeting, and that was the one of the big issues back then. And also, we just need before I turn over the floor to the members, update on is there the last prevailing wage studies? Is it being done? Is it currently being done now, or is that done and over with?
Thank you, Chair, for the question. Yes, it's done already, and we've submitted the draft report to the U.S. Department of Labor last week, and they're reviewing the report right now, and it's on time to be published July 1st.
Thank you. Thank you. As you know that we have the touchback coming back now, and we need that report uh, filed as soon as possible. Thank you for that clarification, and I'll offer it to the floor and members. Cool. Rep Manny.
Good afternoon, Secretary and members. The one question that I have is pertains to your information system and online processing. Part of the law that allowed commerce to adjust its fees mandated that the process for applying for the different licenses and everything, that it was on the condition that commerce is going to upgrade its online system so that businesses and potential business owners don't have to walk up to commerce to file those papers. I know that the forms are available online, but it's in PDF format, which is not the intent of the public law. I know in our last meeting there um, what was told to us is that it's in the works and it'll be happening soon. That was 6 months ago. So can you provide an update on that? Thank you.
Yeah, we do. I'm sorry. One. Oh, sorry. Thank you for that, Representative Castro. We do have, right now, we have the link for, with Energoff for them to file online, but we don't have the payment uh, online available yet. They're still working on that. And thank you for our website, the forms. I do see that that's one of the things that am I want to work on, because I want to make the applications be efficient and user friendly online. Right now, I know that it's I I've talked to the previous secretaries, and I said it's very ugly. So that when people call me and ask for forms, I actually email them the Word format. And yes, we just discussed that yesterday. That one of the things, that's just one of the things, is the website and also the software, because the link that we have is not really working, but it is working. We give it out to some of the business communities, but we're also working on more sophisticated, more efficient, um, more friendly. I want the business communities to be able to just, I don't want it to be like difficult, like, anyway, I guess, did I answer your question? Thank you.
And may I just add into that, Representative Castro? Uh, in lieu with what Ms. Moffinas had stated, not only that we're upgrading the system, that it will be a system friendly, whereas you may not be a business entity, but you're searching for particular company names because you have an interest to open up a business. So you have that flexibility to search online, regardless whether you're not a registered party. So it will be an open market information for the general public and outside of the Commonwealth.
Yeah, the reason why I bring it up is this is not exclusive to commerce. A lot of our government agencies, they pay money for, like, let's say, online service, and oftentimes the product that comes out is not, it's like, in layman's terms, it's half done, you know. I'm gonna make that a little PG-13, but it's, the government pays a lot of money to get the product, and we don't get the full benefits and service of the product. So when it's a phone system, for example, so that, like, let's say the phone system is upgraded, so um, it can route to different agencies, but then it doesn't tell you that, hey, we're closed today, but it has that feature, but it was never set up. Um, does commerce has the ability to set its fee structure now, right? Correct. And where does the money go to that fees? Does it go back to the central government, or are you able to retain some of those fees?
In a general question, with the fees, majority stays with the central government general fund, but in lieu with the registered corporation, there's a 25%, 75% pursuant to the statute created. And also we have with the ABTC, uh, what we call the revolving account that goes a percentage of those funds in. And likewise with the insurance and banking, yeah, insurance, it goes to a revolving account for our administrative and training purposes.
Okay. The reason why I'm asking that is, data is everything. When it comes to businesses, when it comes to the government, um, and like, I think vital statistics need some help and support, um, from computers to more people, more personnel, and I believe all your units need more support. So if that law needs to be revised so that you guys can retain more of that, so the department can grow and improve and benefit the community, please let us know. Help us help you. Thank you.
Definitely. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Rep. Castro. like to recognize the member, TJ Manglonia. I didn't see you earlier, so you are present and you may ask your question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good afternoon, Secretary and Commerce team. Um, I think uh, in regards of the way that we do or conduct permitting here in the CNMI, is very outdated, and um, I know I met previously with Ms. Santos regarding trying to find a way to create some sort of one-stop for all business licensing and permitting. In regards to, if I could speak from the business perspective, sometimes forgetting to pay certain permits because different due dates are separate from business license versus zoning and fire permitting. Sometimes when you run a business, it's a little bit hard to keep track of everything, especially if you're running a small business and you don't have a dedicated accountant. Um, so I think the overall solution, and if I could ask, maybe working with the Department of Finance, is if we could all come together and create some sort of one-stop process for businesses. I think if we want to revamp our economy, we need to start at the front line. And a lot of times, businesses get discouraged with the current processes that are in place. You have to go to about 5 to 10 different places just to get certified to run business here in the CNMI. And talking to some of my family that run businesses in Guam, they're in and out same day with their business license from scratch to being able to conduct business. So if there's one asset that I would have, and my doors are open, it's something that I feel very passionate about. Is if we could, I know they're back in the day, I think it was the 2000s, they tried to create some sort of task force, and I know it's been tried so many times to create this one stop, but I think now it's 2023, and if we want to move forward with our economy, we need to look from the ground up, from the first start. And I feel like the Department of Commerce should be the entity to head it because you guys deal with business transactions. So maybe it's something that we can look into as far as restructuring. Where we go for all these permitting processes, but that would be my one ask. And I think overall, if we improve the morale of business owners wanting to start businesses and make that process a little bit easier for business owners, then more people would want to start opening up businesses, and it would be less of, uh, I guess, a hassle on a yearly basis to deal with all these different permitting processes. So I know it's going to take time. It won't happen overnight. But if I could ask, if we could sit at the table with the Department of Finance and all other business permitting agencies to kind of hash this out, and even if it's not a perfect process, at least create one place where people can go to get everything done, rather than having to run around the island to just get things renewed or get things started. Other than that, thank you guys for your service, and I yield for now.
If I may, Mr. Chair, thank you, Representative Maglonia, for that comment. We do appreciate and we treasure that. Just to give you a short, brief history here. Yes, I was one of the task force that was created back in 2002 for that one-stop business licensing process. We worked together with a couple of other agencies. That includes also revenue and tax. However, Public Law 1788 that transfers the Workers' Comp Commission from the NMI Retirement Fund into the Department of Commerce clearly states in that public law that we are to jumpstart a one-stop processing center at Commerce. What we did in 2013, that was 2012 when it was Public Law 1788 was signed. In 2013, of September of 2013, we consolidated offices, staff under one roof. That includes, we have staff under the workers' comp, we have banking, insurance, register corporation, ABTC support staff. That includes also with weights and measure. So we have 5 personnel that operates that. At the heat of the pandemic, because health issues, and everything else, that's when we sort of like segregate out the staff consolidating staff is not very healthy back then in the pandemic. So yes, we did that process, and we look forward with the forthcoming Department of Finance that wants to start a one-stop processing center. We can collaborate with them. But yes, with the creation of the InterGov system, it's online portal process. So that means we don't necessarily need a one-stop, but maybe we can consolidate it back under one office with one staff operating three or four service process. That can be accommodated, but it's a long shot that needs to be further reviewed with the task force or the team. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. And I'm glad to hear that. I think as long as we make some sort of progression toward consolidating all of these fees and permits, it'll make the business community a lot happier. Thank you.
And also to share, within the last 15 years, what we've been doing, the Workers' Comp Commission, is that we're the last clearinghouse for any and all business license application in the Sinamay. For the last 15 years, we started out with 1% walk-in for electronic processing. As of today, as we speak, currently right now, the entire over 3,000 applicants, businesses, we're doing 70% electronic processing clearing. And this is via email. All you need to do is pay your fee at revenue and tax, forward the emails. You will receive our certification stamp that you're good to go with the Workers' Comp Commission. So that's what we've been up to date in our services. And this is where the direction for commerce. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Rep. Manglonia. Rep. John Paul.
Thank you, Chairman, and good afternoon, Acting Secretary, and to your team. I just have two questions, and first, I want to ask about the vacancies that you have. And there is this position that caught my eye, the hearing officer position. What are the challenges you guys are having in filling this position? And what is the plans of the department of filling all these positions?
Well, the issue that we have is that currently, we have matters of concern with disputes, uh, citations, and whatnot. So that's the area of responsibility that we seek for. And I will probably yield and have Director Martita further expound into that, please.
Thank you, Representative Sablan, for that question. Just to give a short background of, the Department of Commerce used to have a hearing officer back in the 90s, early 90s, and we don't know what happened to that FTE moving forward. Because of, the divisions have different issues and, cases that we have on hand. That is the purpose of requesting for the hearing officer to mitigate on the cases that we have. Right now, we have pending cases under the ABTC alone, over 60-some cases that we have been reaching out to the Department of Labor as well as the Department of Public Lands for assistance to, go adjudicate over our cases. But, because of short manpower or whatever backlog cases that they have, we've been reaching out every other year for that service. So, long story short, I know also that banking and insurance have cases also to be mitigated and adjudicated. So hence the purpose of that request. Yeah.
So this is a new request.
It
You
is,
don't have
no,
the-
actually, we submitted several other requests from the past fiscal year budget request, but it was never granted.
Right. So we can see now in your worksheet, and maybe Ms. V can chime in. You guys funded this hearing officer.
Yes, we did this year.
Okay. Thank you. And my second question is with regards to your revolving funds, how much annually you guys are getting from your revolving funds? And are they flexible to use for your operations?
Okay, in a combination of the alcohol, tobacco, and beer not licensees, annually we get around 227 average thousand. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You.
Uh, Thank you, Representative Sablon. And also just to follow up with the insurance revolving fund, there is it maintaining at, I believe, an average 40,000, I believe, per year? Is that correct? Or
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, it's actually less than that. It's about 33 per year. And then we pay annual dues to the National Association of Insurance Commissioner, which really is a tremendous help to the CNMI.
thank you for that
Thank you.
clarification.
Just a follow-up question. How much is the membership fee?
So they currently base the kind of membership fee on premiums. In the CNMI, our membership is 7,700 per annum.
Okay, so the remainder of the funds, roughly about $33,000. How do you guys distribute those funds within the Department of
You know, there's
Finance?
always been talks about what it's being used for, and because the word specifically there is really been used strictly for paying the dues. Although we would like to be able to say we'd use it for training, we have actually had opportunities several years past, and including this year, where the NAIC, National Association of Insurance Commissioners, has requested for additional staff to participate in these events. Last year, I had Miss Marian, participate with me on one of those trainings, really great trainings. But we'd like to say we'd use it as well for, to travel to these events. It is for National Association membership dues. A lot of times we've been dealing with it through virtual meetings, but now they're kind of coming through with, we want to see in person, gauge the crowd, know how everybody is dealing with in their states. And this is kind of the opportunity to say that we'd like to use it as well for means of travel to participate in these events. But really, it's just being used strictly for membership dues.
For membership dues. So was the creation of that revolving account, was it through just the statute itself with all its rules, or was the rules and regulations promulgated by the Department of
It was
Finance?
just that specific law made for that, for the revolving fund and that.
So most likely we need to revisit the enabling legislation to give some more flexibility to the Department of
I would
Finance.
greatly appreciate that.
And
Thank
again,
you.
with ABTC, is that the same situation? Was it just, or was ABTC the one that came up with the rules and regulation regarding the revolving fund?
Come again with the question, sir? I'm sorry. No.
So the revolving fund that for ABTC, was it
Yes.
just by statute, or was
No,
the
it was created by statute.
by statute?
Yes.
But did the statute allow ABTC to promulgate the rules and regulations for it?
Yes, yes,
Okay, so then ABTC should be able to change rates, correct?
yes.
When was the last time that ABTC had changed rates?
It was like two legislatures ago.
Two legislatures
Yes.
ago. I asked this because it's going to be concerning not now,
Mhm.
but it'll be concerning probably in like 7 to 10 years from
Right.
now, because then we're not changing with time. And when we're trying to catch up with time 10 years down the road, everybody's going to see the change in fees or whatever it costs. No, it's too drastic. So I think that's maybe something that we should start looking into. That you guys are definitely revenue generating in a sense, right? So I think we should work with that so that we can change with times rather than drag it for so many years, like the license, for example, right? We didn't change it for like 30 years. And when we change it after 30 years, it seems so expensive.
Right.
But if you take commodities within the last 30 years, that's not a big change, right?
Mhm.
So I think that's something that maybe ABTC and your team with the team of commerce can start looking at now, so we can start changing
Sure.
with the times. Let's not try to catch up with times. It's going to be very, very difficult. And other enabling legislations to assist the enabling legislation of commerce should be revisited. That's been a while ago, so when commerce was started. So I think we need to revisit that so we can work together, right?
Yeah.
We help you make yourselves more self sufficient. You help us in producing more revenues in the other entities within the government, so that our budget can be more flexible in the sense of give and take to each other.
Yes.
And I use my time for now, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Atto. Representative Julie.
Thank you, Chairman, and good afternoon to the Department of Commerce team. Welcome to the House. My question is directed to the Economic Development Division. Um, I just wanted to find out, what's on the website. There's nothing on it. It just says content coming soon. Can you just enlighten us what's going on with that division?
If I may, Representative Ogo. Uh, We are undergoing some changes with our website process. Unfortunately, there may be some information that was not uploaded from the previous management. But yes, we have discussed this matter with our IT and our administrative manager that we will need to revamp and revisit our website. So hopefully that we can have this taken care of. Our web manager is contracted out of Guam company. So we don't know
With the
basically
situation.
how soon
Yeah.
they may be able to come and assist us.
Okay.
But we'll look into the matter and thank you for that.
My next question is this division, this is a new division, right? Under commerce, is that correct? Has it been in existence
It's an existing division.
ever since?
Yes.
Okay. Mm, I guess I just noticed that director of that division has resigned probably before this year, correct?
Correct.
And I understand that CETA is, I guess, what also included their economic division under their agency. Is what's the collaboration between the two?
Well, I can answer if I may. The collaboration between the Department of Commerce and CETA is still in place even up to this date. Even though they have been segregated, they have more autonomy under CETA right now. But yes, our Economic Development Office continue to collaborate with CETA office.
Okay, so you don't consider it a duplication of division?
Uh, well, thank you for that. I brought this matter up for discussion with former Secretary DeLong Guerrero. And, unfortunately, he didn't last that long with us and also with former Acting Secretary Rios. That, in my personal opinion and professional opinion, that, CETA should be under the control of Department of Commerce because we are the autonomy created by statute when the Commonwealth first came into the picture. So, economic uh, development offices in 2 different locations or 3 different locations is not a very healthy practice. So we'll be looking into that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
I
you.
yield for now.
Thank you, Rep. Julie. Before I recognize other members, with regards to the grants, I know Commerce handles a few grants, like the STEP grant, and I'm not sure if SSBCI is still there. Can you update us on those grants, or did it ceased already?
I'll yield into that for Ms. Santos.
Hi, thank you for that question. Yes. Can you hear me? Okay. Right now, we do have a few grants that is a work in process. We have the WUSADA, which is the Western U.S. Agricultural Trade Association. We also have the STEP grant, which is the State Trade Expansion Program. And we do have the LFPA, which is the Local Food Purchase Assistance. In regards to the SSBCI, that is still under process. That has been transferred over to CETA. So CETA is working on it. Yes.
Thank you for the clarification. Oh, but
You're welcome.
any EDA? Is it EDA still a grant under Commerce, or is that a separate?
EDA. I'm not aware of EDA.
Uh,
Is it
yeah, the
I might be mistaken, but
no, it pretty much the EDA is a point of contact with Department of Commerce,
okay. So the
the
U.S.
to the
Department.
US counterpart,
Okay.
and that collaborates with the SETS program, the Commonwealth Economic Development Strategy.
Any further from the members? Oh, very good. Okay. Rep Beneventi.
Thank you, Chairman and Secretary and team. I just got one question. Do you guys still are you guys still in control of business permit, business license office? No.
No, sir, that has been transferred out. Geez, way before my time in commerce. I think it's like at the time when we started with the one-stop task force. That's when they moved down. So it's strictly under the revenue and taxation responsibility, Department of Finance.
So that's the reason why they put it down there. Because usually there was, I think if I'm not mistaken, it was up here, right?
Yes.
It was up here and then it was transferred down there because ever since then, when I was following it up on the business side, business point of view, you know, it was originally up here, but then all of a sudden it's down there. So maybe it has to do with regards to the collections of the fundings and stuff like that from finance.
I would believe it was part to that extent, sir, because the late Governor Enos at the time was instrumental in drafting that particular draft bill for the legislature to move down the business license to revenue and tax finance. The full impact behind it, I'm not well privy to that. Thank you.
The reason why I asked this question is that you got a lot of things on your plate, you know. You have the Workman's Comp, the ABTC, and all the other agencies that you're affiliated to, that you are working with. So, you know, it boils down to all business perspective type operation. And business license would be the right office to be
Return back.
returned back with you guys. So it will be a one-stop. It will be a one-stop process. Thank you. That's all. That's all.
I do
the concern
appreciate.
that
Thank you
I
very
share.
much, Rep.
Thank you. Are you, Mr. Chairman?
Thank you, Rep Beneventi, Rep Manglonia.
Just a quick question. Is there any laws against credit card minimum purchases? Local laws? Federal laws? Yes, right? No?
I think, you know, with all due respect, I think it's up to the banks that allows you on certain number of dollars
Mhm.
applicable pursuant to what particular card you're holding on.
Okay, no, I just asked because I know, in the States, there really is no credit card minimums at all. And I noticed here sometimes, the credit card minimums for certain stores are kind of high. And I don't agree necessarily with, having to, if I'm just in there to purchase something for $1, why do I have to spend $10 or be forced to spend $10, right? So I was just wondering if there was any legislation against that, and maybe I could look into that further. Yeah.
Thank you. You.
Yes,
Rep
Mr.
Castro.
So I believe a lot of in regards to that question, a lot of the credit card companies, they didn't, there's no minimum, but then the stores themselves added. And then I think there was like some kind of federal legislation, maybe like several years ago, that allowed for it or something. But yeah, I asked the same question before. But the question I wanted to, or more like statement, is in lieu of waiting for an online system, can we also look into like mailing system? So for example, if the permits are going to expire, just mail out or email out a renewal. Say, would you like to renew? Yes or no? Then the company says yes, signs the form, sends it back. Then it's all processed. And if they put their, authorization to charge again, I mean, in waiting for the technology, there's other ways maybe we can also help the businesses out there. Thank you.
Please comment.
Yeah, Congressman, just to allude a little bit with the EnerGov program or the software, I mean, the program that we recently had. That in itself actually was intended to serve as a one-stop portal for all the businesses here in the Sinamay to come, to log on, I mean, to go through that portal and submit their whatever permits that they're applying, business license, fire permit, ABTC, whatever permit it is. That's supposed to be the one portal for everybody. But again, there's I think it's something more investment that needs to be done in that program in itself. And I don't know how the CNMI can appropriate, or the legislature can appropriate funding for to upkeep that program. Again, the intention of that is pretty much, it's a good intention, but again, that program in itself is not up and run. It is up and running right now, but to fully fulfill its features, it's not there right now. We still need to have a lot of work, work around on that program, and probably financial upkeep.
That's true.
Thank you, Representative Castro. I do accept, they do submit some of them submit their reports through the mail and just submit, include the checks. So I do accept mail. And yeah, with that EnerGov, we're supposed to be sending out 2 notices before March 1st. One is to be sent out electronically on December 1st, and the second notice will be sent out January 1st. So, but
So the request for supporting that system, is it in the budget this year?
Basically, that should be under the IT office with the Department of Finance.
Just a follow-up question. I think you guys did Commerce ever have its own IT personnel or support?
We do have one IT person on board.
Under Commerce or under the
Under
OIT?
Commerce.
Okay. Which has been proven to be more beneficial, having your own or through OIT?
Based on the experience within the last, let's say, 6 months, it's more beneficial to have our own IT. Currently, right now with the IT system, you're given a ticket, and that ticket will run maybe 4 or 5 days before there's a response back to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I yield my time.
Thank you, Rep. Castro. Any further? Rep. San Nicolas, did you have any questions of the Department of Commerce in the island of Tinian? Are we?
No.
No question? Rep. Julie.
Thank you, Chair. Are all divisions in one area or building?
No, ma'am. We're located in 3 different building structure
And that's in Capitol Hill?
in Capitol.
Okay, and so, for example, your department, there's 3 buildings, right?
Yes, 3 separate buildings.
So in your department itself, how many divisions are in that building?
In the Department of Commerce main building, the 2-story, we have the Central Statistics Division, the Workers' Comp Commission, we have the banking and insurance, we have the Register Corporation, and we have the admin office and the IT office.
Okay, and then,
The other 2 buildings are situated under strictly for the ABTC.
just ABTC?
Yeah.
Okay, and then the
And,
third
and
one,
I'm sorry, ABTC has 2 separate buildings
2 separate.
adjoining each other.
Joining it.
Yes. Now, the enforcement and compliance is situated at a further distance away here in Capitol Hill.
And that's in a separate building?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so the enforcement has its own building
Yes.
and by itself?
Yes.
Okay. The reason why I'm asking because, I don't have the breakdown of your communication, your request for the communications. So I understand you're asking for 7,000 for your division itself or department. And then economic development, where's that located at, in your office?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's under the main building, the two-story. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Economic development.
All right. And,
My apologies.
Okay. And then alcohol, I don't see any communication. Is that budgeted under your federal grant money or?
Is that for communications on?
Yes, communication,
Actually, that's funded under our revolving account.
revolving, okay.
Yes.
Okay, so that's why there's no request, right?
Right.
And then central statistics, you're requesting 5,000. So in itself, under that building that you have, that all these divisions are asking for communication budget, how much total, including your division, is asking for that budget for communication? Because I'm seeing, for example, your division's asking 7,000, right?
Yes.
And then the economic is 5,000. That's 12,000. And then central is asking 5,000. That's 17,000, correct? And then the economic division enforcement zero, because that's funded under the revolving, right? Or ABTC, yes. And then workman's, you're asking 5,000, which is a separate, all in one building in the operations building. These are all just landlines or including cell phones,
Landlines and cell phones, ma'am.
cell phones. So you're looking at maybe 7,000 just for your,
Approximately, yes.
for that, your, under your operations.
Yes.
in that-
We're very minimal with the usage of cell phones.
Okay, all right. Like I said, I don't have a breakdown of the reduction from what your department submitted and what the governor's submission of proposal. But then in your earlier statement, you said that you guys are willing to work within the governor's request, proposed request.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I yield.
Thank you, Rep. Julie. So just clarification, clarifying question. Mr. Secretary, you requested $1 for the workman's comp, and funding. Should there be lapse funding somewhere? Can you elaborate to the members on that account?
Okay. Within the previous years, since 2009, when we were last appropriated, we continue to come in and ask for the figures, anticipated number of dollars with the projection of number of people that may, government employees that may get injured, illness, or death occurred. Now, it's always come back with a $0. We were never funded. So in this year, we're trying to figure out, an opportunity. It's an opportunity base, whether we can communicate with just added $1 in, and hopefully the discretion with the Office of Management and Budget and the governor unanticipated lapse funds that may be reprogrammed into that particular account.
And
That's
is it under the worksman comps?
Should be under the Workers' Comp Commission account, or it can be placed under the Secretary's account for that matter.
So we're gonna create an account. Is that what
If
you're requesting?
I'm requesting indulgently. And, this will supplement also, should something happen with government employees in Tina and Rhoda, not only for Saipan, but this is encompassing the Sinamay. So, I'm looking at all those
I'm
avenues.
sure we can afford $1 in that account.
Mhm.
Rep, Ms. Via, can you?
I think the account, that expense account is already established under the workman's comp.
Okay.
So it's there.
So we just need to put
Put $1.
an amount there.
Yes.
Okay, noted. TG, no, make a note of that. And with regards to the 14 FTEs, I know we're not in a position to fund 14 FTEs, but should the committee decide to put FTEs, so that if there is funding, you may, hire those FTEs. Is that something that the department is okay with?
Yeah, please. Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for that question. The 14 FTs you're referring to ABTC, correct? Okay. So let me uh, give some a little bit figures because this is a numbers game. Okay. Back in the early 90s, uh, I mean late 90s, early 20s, we used to have over 1,000, licensed establishments. But because probably I don't know economic, situations here in the cinema, currently we have right now a total of 695 combination of alcohol, tobacco, and beer not licensees. So with the current FTs that we have, which is the 15 plus, I appreciate the governor's version of adding two more FTs to make it a total of 18. Um, Even with this number, the 18, um, out of these, 16 will be law enforcement officers, okay, and they will be the ones responsible of going out doing conducting inspections. So just on a ratio wise, with the 685 total establishments, on a good day, we average about 50 establishments or inspections on an 8-hour schedule. Okay, so you take this 16. Out of the 16, there's in our protocol, we send out two officers every inspection. Okay, so that equates down to 8 teams, right? So when you take 695 and calculate it at 8 team on an 8-hour schedule, that will average um, still overwhelming of over 89, 1 to 89 on a ratio basis. Okay. With the 14 FTEs minus 2, which is now 12, we can make the floor amendment to 12. At 30 employees, right? Minus that 2, that gives you 28. Okay. For 695 establishments at 28 employees, divvy that down to 16, per team or team per inspection. That will equate to 50 inspections, 1 to 50, because that's on a good day, we average 50 inspections on an 8-hour shift. So that would be the ideal number and will be efficient to run the operations, on an 8-hour basis. Okay. Let alone, with the, we had to revert back to 8 hours, a day, or the operations instead of 24 hours operations because of the loss of our additional manpower from the ARPA. But yeah, that will also serve as an ideal and will be efficient number of inspectors or FTEs for ABTC to run a full 24-hour operations, because we do have 24 operations licensees out there, such as the e-gaming establishments. Yeah, that does sell alcohol 24 hours and serve alcohol 24 hours a day. Yeah.
Thank you for that, Director. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a follow-up regarding the chairman's question of the workman's compensation. I understand that the account's there, and we're gonna put $1 to activate the account, but that still defeats the purpose of the revolving account for that. So we still need to go back to the enabling statute to change it so it's a revolving account for not that it's non-lapsing, because we can only put $1 in there and include that in the budget for this fiscal year, but it's only going to be good for this fiscal year, at least 2024. So the only money that you're going to get for 2025 is still that dollar that you didn't touch in 2024. So we still need to go back to the enabling legislation, correct?
Well, thank you for that question, Representative Fato. Currently, right now, the Workers' Comp Commission does not have a revolving account in place, even though with the Enabling Act under Public Law 6-33 and 9-33, we have no revolving account. What you may be referring and may be appearing in the finance spreadsheet record is what we call the Special Disability Fund. That Special Disability Fund is a 2% collection from all insurance carrier in the Sinamay, and it goes to a specific account. And the government, nor I myself, my office, have no jurisdiction to touch that funds because it's pretty much to safeguard for a second injury for any private sector employees.
Yes, no, but that's why I'm saying that the request for the workman's comp is at least to put $1 in there. The account's there, right? So all we're doing is we're activating the account by putting $1.
Yeah.
And then whatever extra money we have, we can dump into that.
Reprogram.
But
yes.
we need to go back to the creation of that account in the beginning
Mhm.
to make sure that the account is non-lapsing. We can't do it in this budget because if we do it in this budget, it's only going to be that $1 next year. And then after that, we're going to have to do the same language over and over and over for every fiscal year. So we need to go back to the original statute to change that to change the language in that statute, and that will allow it to be non-lapsing moving forward, not just because we're only talking about the fiscal year, and fiscal year
Yes.
that we're discussing right now is only
Yeah.
24.
Okay.
No, so I think we need to go back to that. We can start the account, but it'll be triggered here on forward after that statute is amended. No.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, and then just a question regarding the weights and measures. We have a lot of discrepancies when it comes to especially traveling with Star Marianas. You leave Saipan, you're like 140 pounds. You leave Rhoda, you're 155 pounds. In 2 days, you gain 15 pounds. So that's a concern because obviously the commodities on Rhoda is more expensive, right? And then when you're trying to get to Saipan, let it be for medical reasons. It's more costly for those travelers to get here. Is there are we up to date with our weights and measures with the businesses?
Mr. Jesse Chong, please.
Thank you for that question. Uh, are we talking about body weight or the check-in baggage?
Well, I guess it's gonna be body weight, but it's the machine itself. The machine itself is. I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't think anybody can gain 15 pounds in 2 days.
I can surely say that the our skills here on Saipan are updated. As far as Rhoda and Tinian, from what I know so far, they're pretty updated. Whenever they need assistance, they'll call me.
Okay, but that's the thing, though, right? So if they're calibrated here, they're using the exact same machines over there. How is the weight so far apart?
I don't know what the difference is, but they're in our handbook. The devices are allowed for an allowance, an allowable discretion, meaning margin for error, because the devices are not perfect.
I understand that it's made by humans, and humans make a lot of errors, right? But 15 pounds is a whole lot of difference.
Well, that is not acceptable. 15 pounds.
Yeah. I just, but can we at least reach out to these guys and see there's a discrepancy for sure because it's the exact same machine. They probably bought the exact same time. I can understand like maybe a 3 to 7% discrepancy in human error, but man, that's a lot of percentage. You know.
Yes. The weights and measures office, we don't do calibrations. We only do testing. The calibration is the responsibility of the scale owner. So we just test and license it.
Sure, but but then commerce kind of loses out here, right? Because if they pay an annual fee for this, and if you can penalize them for changing the calibration, wouldn't that assist commerce? Wouldn't that kind of help commerce in making some additional funds?
If we can prove that there's tampering, and it's I believe that's a
Okay,
type
maybe,
of fraud. Yeah.
maybe it's not good right now because it's on air and they're probably fixing it right now. But maybe in a couple of months, try to travel between Saipan and Rhoda and just look at the difference. It's pretty crazy. No, just for that's just a concern that I'm bringing up.
We'll take note onto that, Mr.
Yes, I'll call Aurora and talk to the guys there to see if there's any complaints. Because usually when there's complaints, they'll call our office.
Thank you, Mr. Chung. Thank you, Secretary.
Thank you, Vice Chair. And I think we have the representative from the island Aurora to kind of elaborate on that.
Probably clarification too. So, in regards to the weights, statistics,
Mhm.
the scales in Rhoda and possibly Tinian, the staff under the commerce statistics specialist in Rhoda, he does that random like checkup on those scales.
Mhm. I
Is that
believe
correct?
it's Mr. Xerxes
Yes,
Camacho.
there's Camacho.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, Rhoda has annually they shuffle their employees, I guess. So
There's only four, and
I
one
only know
director
of
and three
him and
others.
John Barcinas, the
He's
does
under
field work.
ABTC law
Yes,
enforcement.
but he does a little
does
weights
it
and
too?
measures where he helps. But
Okay.
whenever they need assistance, they'll call me.
Hmm.
Sometimes we'll chat on the phone and to
Okay.
guide them through the test process.
Okay, so they are trained to test.
Yeah, and believe it or not, the person carrying the heavy weights in Tinian is a woman, si Vilma.
Hmm.
Vilma.
Okay, so uh, I guess because he was asking, maybe the scale and road is a little bit off than Saipan, so that's why I was just trying to, figure out if there is. I mean, do they send a scale here? You calibrate it, send it back,
No,
or Rhoda does that, or
the scales in Tinian and Rhoda are tested and licensed there.
okay, all right,
They don't send it. It's not necessary because they are trained.
okay, thank you.
Just don't
I-
give
I-
him more food.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rep. Julia. Rep. San Nicolas, is there any issues in the island of Tinian with regards to weight?
Weights and measures. Who does the weights and measures?
In
The
Tinian,
owner of the place or the Department of Commerce?
no, we test and license the device, but as far as maintenance and recalibrations, it's the scale owner. Yeah, we're not allowed to adjust and then cite the establishment for an inaccurate reading. So it's kind of conflicting.
Yeah, because Department of Commerce is kind of a money-making department. We
Sure,
have
we have
those
fees.
divisions, right? We have
Yes.
those divisions. If there's any violations, you guys cite. You guys cite the businesses and the in regards to weights and measures. It's very hard to identify whether the calibration is correct. So there is no a person, an individual or a worker in the Department of Commerce to make sure that the calibration is correct.
Yeah, so for every different makes of scales, they have different calibration procedures. We don't know each and every brand. We don't calibrate. It's conflicting for us as enforcement officers to enforce and adjust. Yes, because they since they bought this, they purchased the scale. They have the calibration manual. We can only assist by bringing our weights for them to use to calibrate, because our weights are precision uh, manufactured by a laboratory.
A lot of complaints about high prices of fuel, high prices of commodities
Yes.
in regards to the calibration is. I think that
Department of Commerce should have an individual from Department of Commerce should be there when the owner is calibrating their own machine. They're, they should be present.
Yeah, we offer that. We ask them if they want us.
Mhm.
We usually do it with the gas stations.
Yes, because looking at your the budget request that you the Department of Commerce, it's a lot of cuts. And
Yes,
if we improve the enforcement, we might prevent these cuts, right?
probably. Yeah.
Thank you, Rep. Thank you, Rep. San Nicolas. Any further? We're good. Thank you, Acting Secretary, for making time. We did note what you requested. We will try to also give the FTEs, and we will work with the OMB as far as the funding and how to, uh, I guess, locate those fundings for you. But with that, thank you for coming and your team. I'll offer the floor back to you for any closing statement or remark if you choose so. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. Uh, we do appreciate the invites to be here. And, I hope that some of the questions and our responses are due diligent to your inquiry. And we look forward that, we have some positive feedbacks. Uh, on the other end, I've took some notes on some of the information here out by the members, and we'll look into this matter, and we'll see what we can do to better enhance our service. Again, Dr. Lunas is Masi to
Thank,
all.
thank you,
Hello,
Mr.
Mike.
Secretary. And with that, members, I now adjourn to tomorrow 10 a.m. Thank you.